చుట్టుపక్కల గ్రామాల్లో 6 రైతులు ఆత్మహత్య వ్యవసాయం చింతలపూడి మండలంలోకి తనకు పోలేదంట.
Good morning to one and all. I am R.V. Kiran, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, February Engineering College. Today, in this class, I am going to explain about the thermosetting plastics. So, one of the classification of polymer composites. So, this is my 15th class in the advanced materials subject. So, in the last class, we have studied about the matrix classification of composites. We have polymer matrix, metal matrix, and ceramic matrix. So, our subject is to study the polymer matrix composites. In the polymer matrix composites, there is thermosetting plastics, thermoplastics, and rubber. So, we have studied about what is a polymer and what are the links and chains that increases the chain of polymers. Next, what is a matrix and what are the reinforcements, and classification of the polymers, that is linear polymer, thermoplastic polymer, thermosetting polymer, and elastomers. Next, molecular chain configurations. So different types of molecular chain configurations, that is linear, branched, cross-link, and ladder. Next, we have also studied about the cross-linked polymers and non-cross-linked polymers. And different types of epoxy resins and polyester resins, fibers used in the polymers. And the first main classification of the polymer matrix are thermosetting plastics. So generally, these thermosetting materials are usually liquid. So it is a liquid-based component, or it is malleable in structure prior to the curing, and designed to be molded into their final form. These are designed to be molded into their final form. Next, it also has the property of undergoing a chemical reaction by the action of heat. So by the action of heat, they are going to undergo a chemical reaction, and a catalyst by the ultraviolet light to become a relatively insoluble and infusible substance. So these thermosetting plastics have the property of undergoing a chemical reaction by the action of heat or catalyst, ultraviolet light, etc. Next, they develop a well-bonded three-dimensional structure upon curing. So we have already studied about the three-dimensional structure in thermosetting plastics. So these have been developed by the cross-linked structure. So these have been developed by the cross-linked structure. Once hardened or cross-linked, they will decompose rather than melting. So once they have been cured and hardened, they will decompose rather than melting. So they do not melt over heating. So generally thermosetting plastics do not melt, but thermoplastics have been melted during heating. Next one, thermosetting materials are generally stronger than thermoplastic materials. So these thermosetting materials are generally stronger than the thermoplastic materials due to this 3D network of bonds. So 3D network means three-dimensional network. That is the cross-linked structure of the thermosetting materials. And these are also better suited to high temperature applications up to the decomposition temperature of the material. So these are better suited for the high temperature applications only because they do not melt while heating. So this decomposition temperature of the material is somewhat higher than the room temperature only, but it is not very high because of its three-dimensional structure. Next, these thermosets are made by mixing two components. So first of all, we are going to mix a resin with a hardener. So resin with hardener which reacts and harden either at room temperature or on heating. So we have already studied in the last point that high temperatures are somewhat higher than the room temperature, but it is not at all high. So that is 200 to 50. That is not the temperature. It is between 80 degrees, 100 degrees, 120 degrees. So that is somewhat higher than the room temperature only. So these thermosetting resins are mixed by two components only. First one is the resin that is in a liquid form and a hardener that is in semi-liquid. So resin is in the liquid state and the hardener is in the semi-liquid state. So these two components are mixed to form a thermosetting plastics. Next, the resulting polymer is usually heavily cross-linked. So we have already known that these thermosetting plastics are heavily cross-linked in structure. So thermosets are also known as network polymers. So these thermosettings are also called as network polymers. Next, the crosslinks formed during the polymerization of the liquid resin and hardener. So the structure is almost always amorphous. So the cross-linked structure during the polymerization of the liquid resin and the hardener, the structure is almost amorphous. So amorphous means amorphous in nature. So the crystalline structure is amorphous in nature and these are cross-linked in structure. Next, on reheating, the crosslinks prevent true melting or viscous flow. So the polymer cannot be hot worked. So on reheating, the crosslinks prevent during true melting. The polymer cannot be hot worked. So further heating causes it to decompose. So it do not melt. So the on reheating, the crosslinks prevents true melting. That is, it should not melt. So these thermosetting resins does not melt in on viscous flow, and this causes it to decompose. So further heating is just causes it to decompose only. Next is the cross-linking structure of the thermosetting resins. So first one is the polymer chain with cross-links. So that is the initial structure. So when heated, it becomes to that structure. So same structure is obtained in the final mixing also. So the cross-linked cannot be changed. So seeing the first one, the thermosettings have extensive cross-linking in structure, and on the final version, this has very strong covalent bonds between polymer chains that cannot be easily broken, and these polymers keep the shape on heating. So these polymers also keep on heating. So that is the basic difference. So no difference in the change of shape and structure when compared to the thermosetting resins. And next one is the it have extensive cross-linking formed by covalent bonds. So these thermosetting plastics have using the covalent bonds only, and these bonds prevent chains moving relative to each other, and these bonds prevent the chains from moving relative to each other. So these are the general main points of thermosetting plastics, and these thermoplastics are usually easier to mold into complex shapes. So these thermoplastics are usually easier to mold into complex shapes, but thermosetting polymers offer more of the following properties. So it has generally the following derived properties. So first one is the high thermal stability. So it has high thermal stability, and second one, it has high rigidity, high dimensional stability, resistance to creep and deformation under load, lightweight, and high electrical and thermal insulating properties. So these are the general properties of the thermosetting polymers. First one is the high thermal stability. So due to high thermal stability, these cross-linked structures have never changed its shape. So these cross-linked structures have never changes its shape. Next one, it has high rigidity. So it has high rigidity in structure. Due to its high rigidity, the structure has very strong lineup. Next, third one, it has high dimensional stability. So due to its three-dimensional stability, the three-dimensional structure, it has high dimensional stability due to change in structure, or next one, resistance to creep and deformation under load. So there is a very less chance to resistance to the creep and deformation under load. So when coming to the deformation, the structure gets deformed when the cross-linked have breaked its structure. So when the cross-links have breaks its structure, it gets deformed. Then lightweight as compared to metals. So it is very lightweight in structure. And last one, it is high electrical and thermal insulating properties. So it has very high electrical and thermal insulating properties. So these are the different for properties of the thermosetting polymers. So these are the different properties of thermosetting polymers. And types of thermoplastics. plastics. So these thermoplastics have different types of examples. So first one is the types of thermoset, and second one is the composition, and last one uses of these thermosetting plastics. So first one is the epoxy. So in the epoxy group, the composition is in the structure only. So you can see it in the composition structure, that is amorphous in shape. That is amorphous in shape. So regular repeated units have been in the amorphous solids, and the uses of the epoxy are fiberglass adhesives, and it is expensive than the other plastics. So it is more expensive than the other thermosetting plastics. Second one is the polyester. So in the polyester group also, it is amorphous in structure, that is in the composition it is amorphous in structure, and the uses are fiberglass laminates, and these are very cheaper than the epoxy group, and these are very cheaper than the epoxy group also. And last one is the phenol formaldehyde. So the phenol formaldehyde are amorphous in structure. So these all are amorphous in its composition structure, and these are used in bakelite, ethanol formica, and rather brittle. So the general property is rather brittle. So brittle in nature. So coming to the first one, that is epoxy. So this epoxy is a polymer that contains an epoxide group. So this epoxy contains an epoxide groups in its chemical structure. The example is DGBA. So diglycidyl ether of bisphenol A. Diglycidyl ether of bisphenol A is the best example for usage of epoxy. And these epoxy is generally a polymer that contain epoxide groups. So already of an epoxide groups in its chemical structure. So the chemical structures have been seen in the below picture, that is of carbons. So they are mixing of carbons and oxygens. Coming to the characteristics of epoxy, this has better moisture resistance. So the characteristics of the epoxies are have better moisture resistance and low shrinkage. So low shrinkage have been very good characteristic. And last one is the good addition with reinforcement. So good addition with the reinforcement is the last characteristic of the epoxy. So addition means bonding between the two molecules or two components. So that is the good addition. With reinforcement means the addition with reinforcement means it has very good addition of matrix with reinforcements. So the bonding between the matrix and reinforcement is very good in nature. So when we get good bonding between the matrix and reinforcement, the material leads to no failure. So no failure occurs in that material. So it is a good characteristics of epoxy. And last one is the table of different characteristics of epoxy. So first one, density. So in the density, we have 1.2 to 1.3 gram centimeter cube. So the density of the epoxy is 1.2 to 1.3 grams centimeter cube, and the strength is 50 to 125 megapascals. So it has a strength of 50 to 125 megapascals, and it has an Young's modulus of, that is modulus of 2.5 to 4 gigapascals. So modulus is 2.5 to 4 gigapascals, that is very high, and the Poisson's ratio is 0.2 to 0.33. So the Poisson's ratio is 0.2 to 0.33. And next one, the CT is 50 to 100, and the cure shrinkage, that is in the percentage, 1 to 5 percentage. So that is uh, very low shrinkage, I think. That is 1.1 to 1% to 5 percentage shrinkage is very low shrinkage. Use temperature is 150 degrees centigrade. So the usage of the temperature is 150 degrees centigrade. So these are the general characteristics of the important characteristics of the epoxy resin. Epoxy resin. So these are the properties, that is density, strength, modulus, Poisson's ratio, CTE, curing shrinkage, and usage temperature. So these are the different characteristics of the epoxy. Next one is the polyester group. So in the polyester, a condensation reaction between a glycol and an unsaturated dibasic acid results in the polymer. So these results in the polymer, and this contains a double bond, that is a carbon double bond is containing between the carbon atoms. A double bond is occurred in the carbon atoms. The example is polyethylene terephthalate. So that is polyethylene terephthalate, that is PET. And the characteristics of polyester are, the main characteristics of polyester are, it is very cheap in nature, that is in comparison with the epoxy, it is very cheap. Next, resistance to the variety of chemicals. So it has chemical resistance in property, and next it has good adequate moisture resistance. So it also has very good adequate moisture resistance. So these are all about the characteristics of polymers, and some more properties of the polymers are based on the, first one is the density. So the density of the polyester is 1.1 to 1.4 grams centimeter cube. So 1.1 to 1.4 gram per centimeter cube. So the strength of the polyester is 3200 megapascals. So 3200 megapascals. Next, modulus, when coming to the modulus, it has 2 to 4 gigapascals, that is the similar compared to the epoxy. And next one is the Poisson's ratio, that is 0.2 to 0.33. It is very low. And the CT is 50 to 100. The CT value is 50 to 100, and the shrinkage, curing shrinkage is 5 to 12%, which is higher than the epoxy. So the shrinkage is somewhat higher in the polyester group. and the usage temperature is 80 degrees 80 degrees compared to epoxy it is very low temperature. So these are the some important characteristics of the polyester resin. Next one is the different applications of these thermosetting plastics. So different applications of these thermosetting plastics. First one is the phenolics group. So that is the polymer type. And second one is the functional units. Last one is the typical applications. So different types of typical applications are there. So first one is the phenolics. So in the phenolics group, the functional units are hydrogen bonds, so hexagonal structure, and this hydroxy group is used in the phenolics. And the type of typical applications are adhesives, coatings, and laminates. So adhesives means for the stickage of two layers. Coatings, so it have been coated in the surface layer. And last one is the laminates, so it is the formation of layer by layer. So these three are the typical applications of the phenolics group. Next one is the amines group. So amines have the nitrogen and hydroxy structure. So you can see it in the structure also. So we have the hydroxy, nitrogen, hydroxy. This repeated structure here. Repeated structure. The typical applications of the amines are, these are also used in the adhesives, that is in a sticker. And next is cookware. Cookware means it is used in the um, rice cookers as well as the other components which you used in the cooking section. And next last one is the electrical moldings. So it is also used in the electrical moldings, that is in using the in manufacturing of switches, switchboards, and other plugs, etc. So these are used in the electrical molds also, that is all about amines. Next one is the polyesters. So these polyesters have a double bonding of carbon. So it has a very strong carbon structure and hydroxy structure, and has a repeated units. So it has a repeated units of its structure. You can see it in the picture. Next one, it is used in the applications of electrical moldings and decorative laminates. So laminate that is used in decoration purpose. And next one, polymer matrix in fiber glass. So it is also used in the fiber glass section also, that is used in the units of polymer matrix. So that is about polyesters. Next one, epoxies group. So this epoxy group is also the heavily repeated units. So it is clearly seen in the picture. This is all repeated in the next unit also. So these are all repeated in the next unit, and the typical applications are adhesives. So they are used in the adhesive structure and electrical moldings and major matrix for the composites. So this is a very good polymer that is used in the matrix of composites. So matrix for composites. So they are used in the as the matrix group for the composites. Next one is the urethanes. So these urethanes are double bonded with the carbon and oxygen group. So you can see it in the picture, and repeated units of its structure. So they have repeated its structure, and these are used in the fibers and coatings as well as foams and insulation. So these are all the general applications of our daily need. So first one is the fibers. So in the fiberglass as well as the window glass. Next it is used in the some plastic foams, etc. So these are all used in the fibers. Second one is the coatings. So coatings means so the wall coatings. So the general mixture of the paste used in the wall coatings. మొక్క అంటాం కదమ్మా తెలుగులో మనం. సో మనకి వాల్స్ కి గోడలకి మొక్క పెడతా ఉంటారు. సో వాటిల్లో కూడా యూరిథేన్స్ అనే వాటిని యూజ్ చేస్తుంటారు మనకి. సో మనకు చూస్తే అది సెమీ లిక్విడ్ షేప్ లో ఉంటది అనమాట. సో దే ఆర్ యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ ది కోటింగ్స్ ఆల్సో. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ ది foams. So different types of foams are used in the barber shops as well as the other shops also, that is used in the foams. And last one, they are used in the insulation purpose also. So insulation purpose of electrical components and other wires and safety for the wires. So they are using a box like structure. So they are used as the insulation purpose. So these are the different types of applications for used in urethanes also. So they are all based on the our daily need structure only. So fibers, coatings, foams and insulation. Last one is the silicone. So this silicone has silicon carbide in structure and hydroxy group. Hydrogens are referred as the boundaries of silicon carbide, and this silicon carbide is the main structure here. And these are used in the adhesives also. So these are also used for the adhesive groups and gaskets. So the gaskets used in the cooking section. So different types of gaskets are there. So the gaskets used in the cooking section also, they are used by the silicon only. And next one is the sealants. So the different types of structures used in the ships and small steamers. So they are known as sealants. So they are used in the sealants also. So that is all about the silicone structure. So it consists of a silicon group here. You can see it in the picture. Silicon carbide. So SiC means silicon carbide. Next, hydroxy in the structure. Hydroxy in the structure. So these sealants are the seal for the pipes. So to reduce the leakage of the pipes, we are using these sealants. So that is the meaning for sealants. So that is highly used in the ships and steamers. So these are the different applications of the thermoplastic polymers. This is all about the different applications. And in the next class, we are going to see the thermoplastics. So thermoplastics is discussed in the next class. So this is all about the thermosetting plastics. Thank you.